One of my favorite stories is of a king who comes out to his grand balcony. I imagine the doors on the balcony of Buckingham Palace, and the people are below. And all of the citizens look up, and there's a hush because their king has come out, and he looks at them, and they suddenly notice that his gaze goes upward. And suddenly all the people, the entire kingdom is looking upward to see what their king is seeing, and they see this most beautiful creature they've ever seen in their lives, high, on the highest tree on the tallest mountain in the kingdom. It's the most beautiful bird. And the king says quietly, I want my people to bring me that bird. And he says again, I want my people to bring me that bird. And people rush past each other, over each other, pushing past each other. Everyone wants to be, naturally, the person who brings the bird to the king. They get to the mountain, they climb the mountain, those who can. Those who are fastest and strongest get to the top first. They get to the tree, they try and climb past each other, on top of each other. And ultimately, nobody is able to retrieve the bird before sunset, day after day after day. And the bird comes out the king comes out to his balcony again. And he looks at his people, his disappointed people below, and he looks up, and the beautiful bird with all the colors of creation in its feathers and wings is still there on top of the highest tree on the tallest mountain. And the king says again, the same words with different emphasis. He says, I want my people to bring me that bird. I want my people to bring me that bird. And he goes back inside. And the people, still quiet, look at one another. And they start walking together toward the mountain, helping each other. So they eventually all reach the base of the tree. And then they're thoughtful and look at each other. Who has the strength to lift one man on his shoulders, and who has the strength to lift another? And they each help one another toward the top of the tree so that the smallest, youngest child can climb on top of all of them to the thinnest branches at the top and pluck the bird off the tree. And he does that, and he comes down, helped by one another, everybody helping him to the bottom safely. And it's that child who walks down through the kingdom, followed by the rest of the people, back to the doors of the stately home of the king, the palace. And the boy with his little hand bangs on the wooden doors, and they open. And he's taken with the giant, colorful bird in his hands to the chambers of the king. And the king smiles at the boy, and he looks at the bird, and he takes the boy onto the balcony with him, with the bird. And he opens the doors. And all the people down below are waiting to see their happy king holding what he wanted, that bird, or maybe already having it in a cage. And what they see is different. They see the king and they see the child holding the bird. And then they see the king take the bird from the boy's hands and throw it up into the air. And people can't believe what they're seeing. It doesn't make any sense. They went to all that effort so many times and they actually heard the king. But what they didn't hear was that he didn't want the bird. He wanted something else. He wanted to see all of his people doing something in unity, together, purposefully together. Maybe now is the time for this story, or maybe it's always been the time. Maybe in every age of being us, of being human beings, there's been a necessity for wisdom stories like this. But maybe particularly now, the beginning of 2021, February, that is, with all the strife and challenges of our society and of our world and of our inner lives, our inner world, we might look to this story and ask ourselves what it teaches us. And maybe the best thing to do is to tell the story to somebody else. Then you'll realize you've taken it in and understood it even better and given it as a gift to another person. Maybe that in itself is unifying.